And his new book is called Into the Volcano, inspired by true events. He's an Ottawa author. Great guy. Joining us right now, his name is David J. Goldfield. Hello, David.
Hi.
This is your second book.
Yes, it is.
Okay. First book, The Ambassador's Word. We'll get to that because it's like award-winning and all that kind of cool stuff.
Almost.
Almost. Nominated. Still pretty decent. But now, can I ask you about yourself? So you're with Goldfield Media as well. You created Goldfield Media. What is Goldfield Media all about?
Well, it's actually Goldfield Media Capital, which combines my writing activities, and my main business experience over the years has been in international finance and private equity. So I combine the two, and I'm involved in filmmaking, and I produce and help finance films.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
To be in the entertainment world like this.
Yes.
So now this book, as I mentioned, the brand new one called Into the Volcano. Now this is inspired by true events, some serious stuff going on here.
Yes.
So tell us about this.
Well, I have been, as I mentioned, I've been involved in the business world in Latin America in particular for about the last 25, 30 years, and involved in fairly big financing type projects and living in the region. The book is kind of an amalgam of several things that I observed and a couple of big stories that I put together while I was living in Panama over the last 10 years.
Okay.
And one of them, in the book, I've combined these two stories, particularly about a politician, a true story, who became the president, very analogous to a certain president we have now in the U.S., kind of a populist, big promise guy with lots of promises, who ended up becoming very corrupt and ran off with a lot of money from the country. And one of the biggest, sort of on a per capita basis, criminals that they've seen in many years, and that's a high bar in Latin America. And the other part of the story is about a couple, an American couple, husband and wife, kind of Hamalka Bernardo type story, about a couple that went down to Panama and started stalking other expats and killed a number of people and stole their properties. And it's kind of a harrowing story. I kind of put them together using dramatic techniques, novelized a lot of it, of course, to kind of highlight what I see as, sociopathic behavior, greed, corruption, that kind of stuff, people.
Okay. Can I ask you, so what were you personally doing down in Panama for 10 years?
Well, as I mentioned, I had a business in investments in Latin America, and we were basically a fund investor that I put together with some partners. It culminated from previous experiences of, for example, I worked for Export Development Canada, head of Latin America for a number of years previous to that, and other business experiences in Latin America.
Okay, so why did you decide then to write?
Well, I wrote a previous book, as you mentioned earlier, about I published it about 10 years ago. Again, because I was involved in Latin America, it was about a true story of a Canadian ambassador that got caught up in a huge hostage taking in Peru, and he became pretty much a hero, and as he negotiated the hostage taking with the government. There were 600 people taken hostage in the Japanese ambassador's residence, and that was the ambassador's word, which, as you mentioned, I was shortlisted for the Ottawa Book Awards for that in 2008, and I just fell into the story and started writing it through people I knew, and discovered I loved writing and loved the process, and written this book since, and I've got another book on the go.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yes.
Well, there goes one of my questions.
Yes.
But can I ask you, though, so did a lot of research? I mean, a lot of research must have gone in, because when you're dealing with these topics, you have to have accuracies. You've got to be correct with what you're saying.
Absolutely. The first book I did was really tough because it was very much a non-fiction, so people corrected me on every turn. This current book is an amalgam of a bunch of stories, which I fictionalized, lots of research, but I had more creative freedom because I was inventing certain parts of the stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I also ask you, and I do want to get to the third book that you're going to...
Okay.
But you are actually developing the first one and the second one already now, so there's a TV series in the works?
Well, it could be a TV series. The book is This book is the first one was optioned a number of years ago by a fairly prominent production company in the States with a Canadian connection, and they've been trying to put together the financing to do a fairly large production of this Peruvian story. It was a very big story, certainly in Latin America 10 years ago, and worldwide. It was covered heavily. So it's kind of got a lot of elements of really exciting story. Yes, so it's in the process of being assembled right now.
Okay.
These things take a long time. This book, the current one, has also been optioned. I'm involved in the production, though, this time, and helping to raise capital for that. So we're hoping to get that off the ground.
It's got to feel good when you write a book and knowing that you could see your work in television or film format.
Very exciting. Yes.
Okay, so the third book, we have about 45 seconds left. When, what would the third book focus on? I know you're promoting the new one here, but...
Well, I actually fell into another story about, this time, India, about a big terrorist attack that happened about 10 years ago in Mumbai. Some friends of mine from my old days at EDC were caught up in it, and it's a couple of ladies that were caught up in this event and trapped in a hotel during this terrorist attack that went on for 3 or 4 days. Very harrowing experience, and because I knew the people involved, I decided I wanted to write a story about it.
All right, but for now, into the volcano. And for more information, of course, goldfieldinc.ca. David J. Goldfield, thank you very much.
Thank you.